morning. Let me go through a few announcements before we actually start the service. Right after church today is a meet and greet from the visitors and congregant engagement team. They welcome you to join them if you're a newcomer or if you've been around, a seasoned attendee, they say. So we'll join together for about an hour after church to get to know each other and ask some questions, and refreshments will be available. And this morning we will be collecting cards for Eva Rothwell. Tim Hortons is our chosen one in our family. So during the collection, we'll collect for our church, and also if you have a card, you can put it in the collection at that time. And if you didn't bring one today and you would like to, the office will be open Tuesday to Thursday between 10 and 3, and you can drop them off then. At your house? Okay, or in Dundas at Martin Dooley's place, or in the office too if you're closer there. So, okay, and then Gail put in this announcement about the carol sing at Sheila and Martin Dooley's house with J.P. Morrison, and there's a few tickets left. You pay what you want, and what you wish, and it's going to be Friday, this coming Friday, December the 6th. Fabulous cookies at the Dooley home in Dundas, and the tickets are available in the foyer after the service. And then there's the Voices of Hope concert. Again, it is going to be this coming Saturday, so today would be a good day to pick up your ticket if you haven't already. A fabulous evening of music. It includes the Boreal Trio and our own church choir. Buy your tickets, $25 outside in the foyer after the church, and you could also buy them on Eventbrite if you'd like. There's a link on our website to that part. And part of this process will support our church programs, so we also need 15 volunteers to help make this evening work. Thanks for those who have already signed up, and we need about 7 more. So sign-up sheets are in the foyer. And you are invited to the 3rd annual Our Family Dinner. Welcome at the LGBTQ folks and allies. It's on December 25th at 2 to 6. Bring a dish to share and some games to play and holiday cheer. And the other announcement I got from Eva Rothwell is that we're still really desperately in need of coats and boots, winter coats. We've got a lot in, but they've gone really quickly. So if you have any opportunity of old boots and old coats, bring them here to the church or again to Dooley's, and we'll get them in for people to try out. So, and hopefully they'll fit. So we can start our service now. So let's do an official good morning. Welcome to the First Unitarian Church of Hamilton, and we welcome those who are here in the sanctuary and those who are joining us on YouTube. The online folks are muted, and we would ask those people here to do the same. But of course, if you are using our hearing system, you may need your cell phone to connect up. But you could select the Do Not Disturb button, and then you aren't embarrassed if somebody phones you during the service. My name is Barb Wallace, and my pronouns are she and her, and I am this morning's worship leader. It takes many people to create the service, and for this Sunday, these are some of the people. Reverend Danie Weber will be our speaker this morning. Rachel Derry will be doing our music ministry. The tech team is Brian Carey and John Elliott, and the ushers are Kathy Brown and Catherine Schuller, and the worship assistants are Ian Johnstone and Craig Howarth. I'd invite Vernon to come up and light our chalices this morning. And I'm going to try and pronounce your last name, Vernon. Now a Jisic, is that close enough, hopefully? Okay, all right. So these chalice lighting words are by Isabel Anand. Let us come into the calm and clear place where we can relinquish our clutter and relax from the busyness of being. We are here so that we can breathe in peace and center ourselves in love. Join me in the unison affirmation words that will be appearing there. May this flame be our light of friendship and love. Get it? It's really hard to do sometimes. So, no. There. Thank you. Vernon helped me. No, sorry, I'm just talking about you, Vernon. Vernon helped me as I tried to personalize this land acknowledgement, and I want to thank him for his help. And we'll start with the regular beginning to the Hamilton land acknowledgement. The city of Hamilton is situated on the traditional territories of the Erie, the Neutral, the Huron-Wendat, the Haudenosaunee, and the Mississaugas. And this land is covered by the Dish with One Spoon Wampum Belt Treaty, which has an agreement between the Haudenosaunees and the Anishinaabeg to share and care for the resources around the Great Lakes, which Vernon mentions are on both sides. So there's the Dish with One Spoon covers Canada, but it also covers the states where they touch the Great Lakes as well. But at Vernon's suggestion, I want to take a larger view this morning. Where does our country stand in improving the settlers' relationship with the Native peoples? Canada signed the UN Declaration of the Rights of Indigenous People in 2021, several years after the UN Declaration. And then this summer, Canada signed the UN Declaration of the Rights of the Indigenous Languages, which goes from 2022 to 2032 to encourage Indigenous languages. And yesterday, the government signed the first ever modern day treaty with a Métis government. Some work has been done to set up task forces and to engage positively in the process of reconciliation. But task forces are just the beginning. We need to move more quickly to rectify our relationship. For example, as of last month, there are still 31 long-term water advisories for 29 Indigenous communities in Canada. When the Prime Minister was elected in 2015, he declared that he would clean up water on all the reserves. Just looking at this one issue, there is still a lot of work to be done. We need to commit ourselves as well as our country to doing more in this and many other ways to correct our relationship with the 641 Indigenous nations in our country. At our church, as well as all Canadian citizens, need to raise our voices to demand equal treatment and right the wrongs that have been done to Native peoples in our name. We need to find more ways to do reconciliation.
Thank you so much, Barb, for that land acknowledgement, and thank you, Vernon, for helping us with it, helping her with it. Our call to worship this morning is an invitation to Arrive and Rest by Reverend Sherry Woodbury. And I should introduce myself too. I'm Reverend Danie, they, them pronouns, and it's really good to be with you this morning. These words from Reverend Sherry Woodbury. Out of the din of the city, away from the noise of the crowds, we come to rest in this moment, in this place. Set apart from the never-ending to-do list, embracing the seventh day, a day of rest, we come to the warmth and stillness of this sacred hour. Remember, you have chosen to be here. Something in your life led you to arrive here, now. Whatever tasks and cares await you, now, for this brief time, simply rest. Allow your soul to be nurtured. Let the waves in your mind and heart gradually subside as you come home to yourself, wholly and whole. Come, let us worship together. And we will start our worship this morning with a hymn, number 349 in the gray hymnal, and the words will be projected on the walls behind me. We gather together. So our children's story this morning is entitled Winter is the Warmest Season by Lauren Stringer, both authored and illustrated by Lauren Stringer. When I woke up this morning, I wasn't sure that this story was accurate, but we'll go with it, okay? Winter is the warmest season. Most people think it's summer with its long, steamy days, but not me. My world is warmest in winter. When winter comes, my jacket puffs warm with feathers, my hat grows ear flaps, my pants hide deep in fuzzy boots, and my hands wear warm, woolly sweaters. When winter comes, summer plants and animals sleep deep under thick blankets of snow, while the snowmen I build dance on top, wearing warm wraparound scarves. When winter comes, my iced summer's milk turn into hot chocolate, cold jelly sandwiches turn into grilled cheeses, hot soups, hot pies, and oven hot breads make winter the warmest for the inside of me. When winter comes, summer's cool fans hide in dark basements, while sleeping radiators awake to their dragon selves, banging and hissing and pouring heat all through my house. When winter comes, cats sit on laps instead of windowsills. Even nights are warmer in winter, and when summer's cool swims, I think I went too fast. We'll go with it. Even nights are warmer in winter. Fire burns in fireplaces and candle burns in candle places. I think parties are warmer in winter too. And when summer's cool swims turn into winter's hot baths, I know my pajamas will grow big, warm feet. My bed is warmer in the winter, piled high with big blankets of plaid, blankets striped yellow, and a blue starry quilt right on top. In winter, bodies sit closer, books last longer, and hugs squeeze the warmest. Even friends are warmer in winter. And in winter, when it's the very warmest, and I close my eyes, I might dream of summer just to cool me off. The end. We will now sing our children out to their classes. And Mary might come and get the chalice.
As you go, may joy surround you. As you go, go in peace. Know our love is with you always. As you go, as you go.
This morning, Reverend Karen Herring is going to offer us an embodied meditation through video. Reverend Karen is a UU community minister living in St. Paul, Minnesota. She's a published author and what she calls a threshold guide to people and communities on the cusp of change. In the meditation, she will invite us to follow along with actions, and she is standing for those actions. You're welcome to stand up. You're welcome to remain seated. Please make yourselves comfortable through this. And also be careful for your neighbors if you decide to do the hand gestures. When the meditation is done, Rachel will begin playing music for our candle lighting ritual.
May I rest in the stillness of winter. May I cherish my body, my dreams and intuitions. Guide me from fear to courage. Teach me to see deep into the mirror of my soul. So now I'll run through it with some explanation. You always want to begin with your feet about shoulder length apart. You can't see mine, but that's where they are, with your knees just slightly flexed and a little bounce to them just for stability. Stand with the crown of your head open to the energy above and the soles of your feet open to the energy from the earth below. Even if you're inside, draw it up and let it run through you up and down. Take a deep breath before you begin. May I rest, cross your hands in front of you, in the stillness, and imagine a frozen pond, that still sheet of ice in front of you, of winter, and the snow falling slowly down. May I cherish, drawing a big circle and bringing it right back to your heart, my body, my dreams. Winter is a time of so much darkness and dreaming, and the intuition born of it, and intuition. Guide me. Notice it's your own hands guiding you, your own wisdom in correlation with nature and others. Guide me. You take a step forward with both feet. From fear. Fear is always a step backward, out of relationship. So we're being guided away from fear to courage. And feel the courage, the strength there. Teach me to see deep, not outward, but deep inwardly into the mirror of my soul. And the soul is a bird flying from the nest. And then we come back around with the snow falling. We'll do it one more time, straight through. May I rest in the stillness of winter. May I cherish my body, my dreams, and intuitions. Guide me from fear to courage. Teach me to see deep into the mirror of my soul.
Spirit of community care, let us open our hearts to one another and all that we hold sacred. Sometimes the joys or the sorrows within our lives are too tender to share. We hold those in this space today with the reminder that we are never alone. Alongside the struggles and sorrows of this life, there are also joys to share, milestones, blessings, and celebration of all kinds, for which we are moved to give thanks. We celebrate the joys among us and rejoice in the happiness that flows through our community. Sharing our joys and sorrows with this beloved community is an act of courage and vulnerability. And to witness the joys and sorrows that are present within the life of our community helps us to deepen our relationship to this caring community. Sharing with and witnessing one another is part of building the web of a beloved community that we weave. May we continue to be so courageous and so passionate. The words for the offertory were written by Victoria Weinstein. Every week in our church, we take up an offering. It's good to remind ourselves that from time to time that the offering is symbolic as well as practical. We know that it is through pledges that we build our budget and that we fund our yearly programs and the ministries of worship and religious exploration, pay our staff and professional religious educators, and finance the comfort and beauty of our building. And we know that we could easily put our pledge checks, get them to the church, and at any time, any convenient time. But we pass the plate during the worship service to make the community expression of thanks for blessings of abundance, to visibly bring the harvest of this most cherished hour of our week. Our offering says that the act of giving is essential to our spiritual well-being as anything else that we do here on Sunday mornings. So the offertory will now be given and received in the spirit of grateful fellowship.
I am going to sing a George Harrison song that you probably won't know, but maybe you will. It's called Be Here Now. Be here now, as it's not like it was in the past. The past was here now, and it's not what it was before. It was. Why try to live a life that wasn't real? A mind wants to wander round a corner. Is here now, and the past not what it was before. Remember, be here, be here now, and it's not like it was, like it was before.
You for all the gifts that you have given to both the community and to our church today. Thank you.
Many years ago, perhaps even thousands of years ago, people in the Northern Hemisphere were thought to have gathered wreaths of evergreens and light fires as a sign of hope in the coming spring and renewed light. The custom was kept alive by Christians, and by the 16th century, the Advent wreath had gradually spread across many parts of the world. Today, Advent is the period of 4 Sundays leading up to Christmas. It's also the time in the Northern Hemisphere when the days are the shortest, when cold settles in, and when people need the cheer brought by promise of light and warmth. Today we are going to be lighting our first Advent candle. Week by week, the candles remind us that fear and hopelessness recede as more warmth enters the world. And the flame of each new candle reminds us that more is yet to come. On the first Sunday in Advent, we light this candle of hope with the words of Marinsa Weirderker, I can't do that one, I'm sorry, by a Benedictine monk. And these words: I was just thinking one morning during prayer how much alike hope and baking powder are. Quietly getting what is best in me to rise, awakening the hint of eternity within. May this candle awaken the best in us, connecting us to the eternal, and give life to our hope. Advent comes from the Greek word meaning waiting or coming. I know that this celebration, this practice of waiting, attending to hope and joy, peace and love, is incredibly important to many Christian lives and many Unitarian Universalist lives. And yet, I sometimes still struggle with the idea of Advent. It feels a little bit odd and out of place for me to celebrate the birth of a child for weeks and weeks and weeks, when the theology of my Unitarian ancestors state that there is nothing special about the birth of this particular child. It is only as holy and as precious as the birth of every other child that has been born. Unitarian theology specifically stepped away from the idea of Jesus being divine. For those who are currently taking my starting point class, you might remember some of these details. Unitarians did not find evidence within the Trinity or for the Trinity within the Bible. They believed that the divine, or that God, was singular, a single unit, and that Jesus was a human, not God, but human. Unitarians continued to hold the truth and appreciation for the messages of Jesus and other knowledge from Christianity, but they chose not to set him apart from others. And yet, it still feels appropriate, even though there is this disconnect, it still feels appropriate to celebrate the idea of Advent, to find some sort of celebration in the waiting. There are so many things that we might be waiting for right now. For the weather to change, for sunlight to return, for the new year to come, maybe for a time away from your regular schedule, a time of rest. Being present in these many different types of waiting might be the real practice of Advent for me. A practice that asks us to sit in the waiting. A practice that asks us to sit with anticipation, with joy, excitement, and to experience the waiting. So often, when we are in this holiday season, there is so much impatience. Impatience for arrival, impatience for time to pass and be over, impatience for the gifts and for the celebrations to happen. 6 years ago, Adam and I were new arrivals to Kelowna. We had spent a summer much like the one that we just had, living out of suitcases and traveling across the country for me to start a new job. That summer was actually a lot worse than this last one. By the time we finally were settled in an apartment of our own, after house sitting for friends for 2 months, Adam and I were both physically and emotionally worn completely thin. We were both about ready to crumble. My career had taken us through 3 different provinces over the course of 1 church year. Adam's chronic health issues were in a flare, and the job that we had moved for was part-time and underpaid. Things were bleak by the time December rolled around. That was when we started attending mental health support groups, gatherings that happened at a public library where peers met and listened to one another's struggles, attempting to create a sense of community and help one another remember that we were not alone. I imagine that those support groups would be very similar to 12-step meetings. And one of the many short phrases that we would use in our support groups with one another was, "Depression is being stuck in the past. Anxiety is worrying about the future. How can you be here, right now?" When was the last time that you sat still and with your body? Perhaps you do it often. Maybe some of you do it on a daily basis. Perhaps you do it weekly. You've decided to add it into a moment of silence each Sunday to still your body and to listen. Perhaps you've tried sitting still once or twice, but it didn't really work for you. You feel too antsy, too jittery, too distracted, need to keep moving. I'm sure that everyone here has sat still at one point in time or another. Waiting is one thing, but sitting still is completely different. How often have you spent time pacing, waiting for something to happen, and you start walking back and forth? Maybe it's for a loved one in a hospital room, or a teenager who hasn't come home yet after curfew. Maybe it's for the oven timer to ding or for the baby to go back to sleep. Pacing is one way in which we can wait. There is some knowledge and truth in that as well, that rocking motion of moving back and forth. The ability to move rhythmically helps us find a sense of ease in discomfort. Perhaps you've sat nervously at a desk or a chair and had your knee bouncing up and down. An attempt to let out the extra energy that's within your body and allow yourself to stay present in the moment. It's almost as if there is an allurement in the movement, something that pulls us away from the discomfort of waiting and allows us to let go of the struggle. But sometimes I wonder how many of us actually pay attention to what that wobble is covering up. This past spring, I had the opportunity to be present with lots of challenging waiting moments. Most of them had to do with the potential relationship and shared ministry that we are currently embarking on. There was one particular afternoon, I think it might have been June 23rd, when I was sitting in a living room across the street, waiting for a message from Mel Rutherford about results of a very important event that was happening in this room. I know that sitting with my emotions and allowing them to pass through me, rather than smushing them down into the pit of my stomach and ignoring them, is often a much better way of dealing with those emotions. And yet, every time I feel an emotion, I'm aware of an emotion, I have a tendency to push it away. It doesn't matter whether I'm experiencing a positive emotion or a negative emotion. I think it's just the intensity that I feel within my body, the intensity of the emotion that I experience that I am attempting to get rid of. So instead of taking out my anxiety, witnessing it, experiencing it, allowing it to be present in my life and offer me wisdom, instead of allowing my joy to burst out of me, I have a tendency of withholding it, waiting for an appropriate time to allow myself to the freedom of expression. What would happen if instead of pushing down, instead of pacing, instead of withholding, instead of knee jiggling, I could sit in the stillness, sit in the waiting, and allow? Waiting has always been a time that I find really challenging, a time when my imagination comes out and plays nasty tricks in my mind. And so I have been trying to practice finding hope in these moments, but also in the presence of the world that is around me. It's much like our story for all ages this morning. I have never thought about winter being the warmest season. The story completely flips the idea on its head for me. What if we might do the same thing with waiting? Rather than finding anxiety or struggle, maybe we can find hope. Because really, those are opposites of the same coin. Hope being the anticipation or expectation of a positive outcome, and anxiety being the anticipation or dread of a negative outcome. Annie Dillard said something similar in her book called Pilgrim at Tinker Creek. She states, "The world's spiritual geniuses seem to discover universally that the mind's muddy waters and muddy river flow ceaselessly of trivia and trash. It cannot be dammed, and that trying to dam it is a waste of effort that might actually lead to madness. Instead, you must allow the muddy river to flow unheeded in the dim channels of unconsciousness. You raise your sights, you look along it, mildly acknowledging its presence without interest and gazing beyond it into the realm of the real. And so, as we spend our first week of Advent, our first week of waiting and focusing, I hope that we focus on hope. I invite you to join me in the mind's muddy river as we sit through this season of Advent, awaiting what is at the other end. Let us focus on hope. Let us gaze out, acknowledge the presence of the muddy river, and seek out hope. May we make it so. And now, if you will join me in our closing hymn, number 1009 in the Teal hymnal, Meditation on Breathing.
So, how we're going to do this? I think you'll be very familiar with this one. But in the hymnal, there are 3 different parts. So what we're going to do is we're going to sing each part, and then you're going to decide what part you want to sing. Be in the moment. Just let it flow. So we're going to start with just what we call a drone, which is just breathe. So we just sing, breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe. That's so simple. Now we're going to do the melody, which I think you're familiar with. When I breathe in, I breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I'll breathe out love. And now there's a beautiful high part that we can sing together. It's, and it goes like this. Here we go. When I breathe in, I'll breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I'll breathe out love. Let's do that again. When I breathe in, I'll breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I'll breathe out. Pick one. When I breathe in, I'll breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I'll breathe out love. Breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out. When I breathe in, I breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I breathe out love. Let's do it again. When I breathe in, I breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I'll breathe out love. Let's all just do the drone. Breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out.
Our chalice extinguishing words this morning are from priest and poet John O'Donohue. May you awaken to the mystery of being here and enter the quiet immensity of your own presence. May you have joy and peace in the temple of your senses. May you respond to the call of your gift and find the courage to follow its path. May warmth of heart keep you present, your presence aflame, and anxiety never linger within you. May your outer dignity mirror your inner dignities of soul. May you take time to celebrate the quiet miracles that seek no attention. May you experience each day as a sacred gift woven into the heart of wonder.
You're going to join me on postlude. It's very simple. The words are hold up the light, hold up the light, hold up the light, and let it shine within you. Let's do that line. Hold up the light, hold up the light, hold up the light, let it shine within you. Second line. Oh, I love it, Walter. That's awesome. The second line is similar, except we end with different words. We say, let your light shine around the world. So let's try the second line. Very similar tune. Hold up the light, hold up the light, let your light shine around the world. Let's put it together. I love the lights. All right.